Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 112th episode of the Triboro Podcast. I am your host, Justin Alonso, newly tanned after his vacation from Aruba, joined by Nicholas O'Brien. How are we doing, Nicholas O'Brien?
Not tanned, not on vacation, but I'm doing well.
You want to see a hell of a tan line because I only wear sunglasses?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's
You
great.
can see it going into my hair, too, if you look closely enough. Hell of a
That's amazing.
sunglass tan line. But, yeah,
Forever
baseball
sunglasses.
was played, and I have no idea what to make of it.
Same, in a way.
So, on that note, the shortest intro of all time. And where are we going?
We're going to Queens.
We're going to Queens?
Now entering Queens.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Queens, fresh off a sweep of the Philadelphia Phillies and one game against the Marlins, which we'll touch on. But that's not the most important part. The sweep of the Phillies was huge. Haven't talked in a few weeks, but there's really not much else to say. The Phillies sweep is probably the best and most important thing that's happened with this team over the past couple of weeks. The offense has been playing better. Nolan McLean. I keep wanting to say McLean because that's how it's spelt, but it's McLean. I don't understand how, but it is. But he's awesome. He's disgusting. I mean, this guy, the way he pitches is just so impressive. But before we get into that, as always, we got Triboro MD injury report. Got a little bit to go through and some pretty important ones. So last time we talked was fresh off the Mariners series, where Francisco Alvarez jammed his thumb into second base. He did tear his UCL in his right thumb. I know, Justin, you have a lot of thoughts, so I'll let you take it.
Is that talk about when he got hit by the pitch as well?
No, that was the next thing.
I think you should say that too, because this goes hand in hand for me. I
Hand
didn't
in
even
hand.
do that, but
So, torn UCL in his right thumb from sliding, and then he got hit in the hand on a rehab assignment 2 nights ago and broke his pinky.
Which hand?
Left hand. So, UCL on the right, pinky on the left.
It literally makes no sense how a guy can get this unimaginably unlucky with his fingers.
Yeah.
Because it truly, I've never seen this many finger injuries.
Mm-hmm. That's now 4 in the past calendar year.
And they're all from something different. One's from hitting, one's from sliding. Isn't one from like something with catching? I want to say
no. Everything's been on the offensive side because last year he tore his UCL in his left hand. That was from running because he slipped and like braced his fall and his thumb kind of just
So
blocked.
He tripped, sliding, getting hit in the hand, and what was the other one?
The hamate, which was just swinging a bat.
Yeah. 4 completely different ways.
That was during batting practice.
That are all freak accidents.
Yeah. I feel horrible for him. I really do. But the good news is he's going to try to play through the UCL tear, which he was doing on the rehab assignment. And it sounds like the broken pinky is only going to delay him a few days, and he's going to play through that as well. But I mean, hats off to him. Like, the dedication, the work ethic of this 22, 23-year-old guy who's just facing challenge after challenge after challenge. Like, hats off to Alvarez because he's getting hit the most unlucky hand, no pun intended, and he's just working through it. So hats off to him. Hopefully they get him back in a reasonable time, and hopefully he comes back at, I'm not, to be fair to him, I'm not expecting how he's been hitting the past month plus, but if they can get half of that, just a, above league average offensively, then I think you'll be very happy with that. But still, just sucks to hear him have another injury.
I really
to his
wish.
Hands.
How do you find throwing velocity? for catchers? Because I'm trying to find it on Baseball Savant, and I see
I
it for
don't know if
every
you can.
position outside of that. Because I really want to know
Not
how. Well, speak to
arm
his arm.
strength?
How good is his arm? It's pretty good, right?
Good.
Yeah.
His arm is good. The accuracy is not.
I really wonder how a torn UCL in his thumb is going to affect that.
Yeah, for sure. And I
Because-
think, well, apparently, if I'm remembering correctly, the issue with the UCL was they're more concerned with hitting than catching, which I thought was a bit of a surprise because gripping the bat.
Okay.
But no, to your point, like, yeah, it's his throwing arm. So, like, oh, here we go. So in 2023, because you have to go under catching. In 2023, he averaged 84.8. To 2024, 84.2. This year in 2025, 85.4.
To call it 84, 85. And
Right.
that's
So
pretty
call,
high
yeah,
up there.
call it 85.
Right? That's
Yeah,
pretty high up there.
Let me see.
I'd
Look
bet
at the
that's,
leaderboard.
like, really high up there.
Yeah. Well, Dylan Dingler on the Tigers has the best arm at 88.9. Alvarez is 15th. So it's really good.
And something about that too, which just like because you said the bat, so I was curious about it. This year, he's not qualified, but he'd probably be about 75th, 80th percentile in bat speed.
Right.
So that could be a thing too if he just swings the bat so hard. Last year he wasn't qualified either, kind of like the same spot.
He's been
2 years
injured.
ago he was qualified, 81st percent.
Yeah, his bat speed has been probably his one consistent.
And if you're
thing.
swinging it so fast, that means you have to put so much
So
power
much pressure
into
yeah.
the swing, so much pressure. You got to hold that bat really hard. So I definitely see that when you kind of look like more into the numbers on that.
Yeah, so we'll see how he comes back, but I just want him to stay healthy, man. He doesn't even have. I mean, obviously he was sent down to AAA, so that's kind of a month he quote unquote lost. He doesn't even have 200 at bats in the season. He has 200. Sorry, he has 209 plate appearances, but still, it's like nothing. That's like what, 2 months,
2
3
months, yeah.
not even. But yeah, it just sucks for Alvarez, but especially because he was hitting, he was so good. But that's enough on him. Hoping
Pissed me
he
off,
gets
dude.
back and just keep your head down and move forward.
So fucking annoying, but
Moving on to Reed Garrett, he's put on the 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. We kind of saw this with Garrett last year. Used so much in the beginning of the year, started struggling, put on the IL, and then he came back. And it was just kind of just a little later this year. I think he got put on the IL last year in the middle of the summer, around June, July. Now it's in August. So hopefully he comes back and for the stretch run and becomes a Reed Garrett I know and love, because he's been one of the downsides of the bullpen as of late. And then last but not least, Frankie Montas has a tear in his UCL. He will get Tommy John surgery. He is out for the year and most likely out for all of 2026. Frankie Montas, Mets career is over. Now we can confidently say this is the first huge miss by David Stearns as president of baseball operations. And obviously, when it comes to injuries, shit happens. But, Frankie Montas also a decent injury history as well. So
is
Frankie
this his
Montas
first Tommy John?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I want to say it's his first Tommy John. And it's a thing of when you had this many injuries and you don't have Tommy John, it almost feels like Tommy John is just waiting in the wings to happen.
It always is, yeah.
So that's the thing with, just to go back to Garrett Cole, he was so durable, but it's because he pitched so much, it was just waiting to happen. Especially because Frankie Montas has a lot of stuff that moves a lot. A lot of breaking pitches. So it makes sense, and it sucks. And this contract is a
disaster.
Yeah.
That's why you don't give pitchers long-term contracts.
Even then, it's a 2-year contract.
Yeah, exactly. So his Mets career, 7 starts, 9 games, 38 innings, A 6.28 ERA.
Well, give him credit. 38 2/3.
38 2/3. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say. It sucks, obviously, for Montas, the person. For the Mets, I'm not going to say it, but you get the picture. So, hoping for a clean surgery for Frankie Montas, healthy recovery, and we'll see where he goes after this, because he is
32 right now.
32, so he's probably not going to be pitching,
Until he's 34.
34, so we'll see what happens. But, wishing him all the best, and that's your injury report brought to you by Triboro MD. So now let's talk into the good stuff. The Mets went into Monday night, first game of the Phillies, 7 games back of the division. When we talked to you guys last, we mentioned that they have 7 games left against the Phillies, and we thought they need to win about 5 of those 7 to kind of have a chance in the division. Well, they won the first 3. Swept the Phillies out of Citi Field pretty handedly. Game 2 was like the only kind of stressful, sweaty one. And that's only because of Ryan Helsley. But, yeah, I mean, they completely just dismantled the Phillies. The Phillies have now lost 10 straight games at Citi Field, including the postseason. I never thought it would possible, but it seems like Citi Field is just like the boogeyman for the Phillies. It's just an endless cycle. I saw someone on Twitter say it was pretty funny. The Braves own the Mets. The Mets own the Phillies. Phillies own the Braves. And it's just a constant circle. So, yeah, just such an impressive sweep. Especially because you really didn't get good starting pitching besides Nolan McLean. Kodai Senga didn't make it out of the 5th inning. Sean Manaea didn't make it out of the 5th inning. They both just did not look good. They're still both kind of going through it a little bit. Sean Manaea, I'll give a little bit more slack because of that loose body in the elbow. But Senga's just got to be better. I mean, this is now more than a month of being back, and he has like an ERA over 6 since he's been back in. It's not like he's getting unlucky. It's not like he is, what's the word? Like, whatever. It's not like he's getting unlucky or anything like that. He's straight up bad. Like, he's just not good at the moment. I'm pulling up his stats now because I forgot to write them down. But he just too many waste pitches, too many uncompetitive pitches. He's not striking out a ton of guys. And here we go. And this is now how many starts? 8 starts since coming back off the IL. A 5.4 ERA, a 5.89 FIP. Again, he's not getting unlucky. He's not running into bad luck. He's just bad. And I'm not sure. A lot of it, I will say, has to do with the walks. He's walking nearly 6 batters per 9. So that obviously just can't happen. That's a 13.2% walk rate, only to a 19.8 strikeout rate. He's just not getting whiffs. He's leaving the forkball over the plate. He's not really getting chases on that either. So I'm not sure what's going on with Kodai Senga. All I know is we saw it last year how finicky he is, I guess is the best way to put it, especially when his mechanics. If he doesn't feel right, if his mechanics don't feel right, he's not in a good spot. But he needs to be better. Sean Manaea was solid, only gave up 2 runs, but didn't make it out of the 5th inning. He just needs to be more effective. I think the biggest issue with Manaea is once he gets to a higher pitch count, which he does to himself by a lot of long at-bats, he kind of just hits a wall, and the stuff just drops off after that. But despite those 2 things, they still came away with a sweep. And that's really due to the offense. Like, this is like a culmination of everything that's gone wrong this season. They scored 25 runs in 3 games. And they faced Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, and Taijuan Walker, who's having a much better year than he has in the past. But they scored 5 runs off of Christopher Sanchez. And he's like number 2 on the Cy Young ballot, probably. Besides, he's like the best pitcher in the NL, not named Paul Skeens. And then you hit a walk-off off of Yohan Duran. And you couldn't ask for a much better series than what you got. Especially with Nolan McLean. 8 scoreless innings against the Phillies in your 3rd major league start? Like, what? If he didn't have like a little bit of traffic in the 7th and the 8th, he was gonna coast through 9. He was like at 60 pitches in the 7th inning or something like that. Like, he was coasting. There was no sign of trouble at all until the later ends of the game. And even then, he had like a 6-run lead. So it's not like he was sweating it out either. So you cut the lead to 4 games after the series. I can't put into words how much of a necessary and good sweep that was for the Mets. This is the best baseball they've played in over 2 months, and it couldn't have come at a better time.
It is incredible to see, and that's the series you show up for 100%. Any series, like, you had to pick, this is the series you had to show up for.
Yeah.
But can you really bank on that showing up again?
Yeah, that's the
That's
issue.
the issue where it's just because
don't want to jump ahead, but they played a game against the Marlins last night, and they looked sloppy.
and
They
I
played
hate
one
to,
of their worst games.
and I hate to say it too, but that Philly series is kind of the outlier on the year when it comes to
Yes.
just the offense.
To be fair, yeah, no, fair enough. I'll give you that.
That's not me hating either. That's just saying, is it replicable?
Yeah. Objectively, this is the best they've played in over 2 months. But the fact that that's the best they've played over 2 months is kind of like, all right, that's the best you've played in over 2 months. Can you do it again? Because leading into that, they lost a series in Washington. They won a series in Atlanta, but they let the last game get away where they could have swept. Before that, they won a series against the Mariners. Before that, they lost a series against Atlanta at home. So they could use this as a jumping off point, as a way to turn things around. But then you show up on Thursday night and just completely lay an egg against the Marlins. You played some of your sloppiest baseball. You committed 3 errors. You allowed 5 unearned runs when you lost by 4. So you take away those 5 unearned runs. Guess who's in the lead? And it's just a sloppy game from Clay Holmes, sloppy game from Pete Alonso, sloppy game from Brandon Nimmo. Again, I do want to give them a lot of credit for sweeping the Phillies because it was handedly. This was a completely lopsided series, and they played some of their best baseball. But then you can't just turn around and just lay such an egg against a team that's way behind you. Especially when the Braves are fucking pitching Cal Quantrill against the Phillies, and they score 18 runs off of them, so now the lead's back to 5 games.
And Kyle Schwarber hits 4 home runs.
Yeah. After you're going like 0 for fucking, what's the math? 12? 0 for 13, 0 for 14. 0 for a lot against the Mets.
No, and it's... Do you think the clock has struck midnight on Clay Holmes?
No.
No, you still want him as a starter?
I still see him as a starter. The biggest reason why I see him as a starter is I don't think you can move him to the bullpen and then expect him to be good. If he's throwing 94, I really doubt putting him back in the bullpen is going to allow him to touch 98. If you're taking this Clay Holmes and just shifting him to the bullpen, I do not think that's a good reliever. That's a guy that's throwing 94, that has good breaking pitches, and I don't know. That's.
I will say that's also not fair to say that, like, if you're moving this Clay Holmes to the bullpen, because if he's being moved to the bullpen, he's probably going to reach back for more. You know what I mean? Velocity and stuff-wise. Just because if you know you're only
I
pitching
guess.
1 inning rather than 5 innings, you're going to be throwing a lot harder than 94.
No,
Especially because we've
I
seen him
understand
be able
that.
to do it.
Yeah, that's fair, but I'm not sure like how much he can reach back at this point after starting for the past we're in August, 5 months,
I was going to say,
6 months.
I am concerned about the innings.
Oh, for sure, which you should be. But before this start last night, he pitched almost 7 innings against the Braves. So and look, he still went 5 innings, and if he goes 5 innings the rest of the way, I think you're fine with that. The issue is that, well, look, I'll paint it this way: if Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga were the pitchers we know they are, and they're pitching 6-7 innings a night, you would not care that Clay Holmes only goes 5 innings. I think the issues a lot of people have with Clay Holmes has more to say with the state of the rotation than Clay Holmes himself.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say you can't critique him because he's had some bad games, especially last night. A lot of those unearned runs were on him. But I'm still perfectly fine with Clay Holmes as a starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm just looking at like his career numbers, and you have to go all the way back to 2018, the last time he started a game.
No, for sure.
And his strikeout per 9 is the lowest of his career, except for 2020 where he pitched 1 game when he pitched 1 inning.
1 inning, yeah.
So it's the lowest by a healthy margin. So, because you just for people, go all the way back to 2021, strikeout per 9, 10, 9.4, 10.9, 9.2, 10.1, 9.7, 7.
Yeah.
His walk per 9s are kind of are the highest since 2021, where he had 3.7, then it goes 2.8, 3.3, 3.1, 3.5. So, home runs per 9 are the highest out of that bunch, too. And it's not a good thing to me when the rate numbers are higher or are worse in a much larger sample size.
Yes, I get that, but also it's an unfair comparison to an extent because,
Yeah.
again, look at the average fastball velocity. Go back to 2021, 96, 98, 97.4, 97.5, 93.5. Like he's not throwing as hard. He has to throw more pitches because he's a starter. And he's just not striking out guys. That's just he's and to your point, I will say he's striking out a lot less, which even I expected. I don't think it would be fair to expect him to strike out 10 10 batters per 9 innings.
Yeah.
But 7.02 is low.
You're still thinking like that 8.5 range, kind of.
Right. I think just the strikeout stuff just isn't there.
Because it just doesn't have the velocity.
Yeah, and that definitely just has a huge thing to do, has a huge part of it. But no, I understand the concerns, but I think he's perfectly fine. Now, come playoff time, as long as you make it, he's not starting a game. But to finish out the season, I'm comfortable with Clay Holmes as a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Again, if Manaea and Senga were going 6-7 innings a night, you wouldn't care if Clay Holmes goes 5.
Or Holmes in a playoff start.
Oh, McLean. He's starting game 1.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if 2 games was enough for you to have him.
I'm so in.
Okay.
I'm so in. Yeah. Right now, he probably starts game 1. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. And again, that's not me like criticizing him or criticizing one. I was just curious if 2 games was enough of a sample size for you.
Hey, it's 3.
3? Fair.
But
Sorry.
yes.
Yes. You get the point that I'm making.
Yes. Look, I think it also...
Jonah Tong or Clay Holmes?
We'll see tonight, but we'll talk about that later.
You'll see.
I think it also does have more to say about the state of the pitchers around him. Like, Kodai Senga, bad. Can't get through 5 innings. Sean Manaea, fine, but can't get through 5 innings. David Peterson, good, but I don't want him starting game 1. Clay Holmes, he's not starting a playoff game. If the playoffs started tomorrow, Nolan McLean is your game 1 starter. And I don't think that's crazy to say. We'll talk about Clay Holmes, not Clay Holmes, Nolan McLean, because I wanted to anyways. So the thing that's impressed me so much about McLean is his pitchability. In all 3 starts so far, his usage of his pitches have changed each start. In his first start against the Mariners at home, he went very movement heavy. It was a lot of sweepers, a lot of curveballs, and obviously he used the sinker. In the start against the Braves, he went very fastball heavy, a lot more sinkers, a lot more four seams against the Braves, and then against the Phillies, he went back to kind of more movement, more sweepers, more curveballs. And you just look at his on Baseball Savant, you look at his pitch percentage by game. And it was a lot of sweepers, a lot of sinkers against the Mariners. Against the Braves, there's a lot of sinkers, a lot of four seamers, sweepers. Phillies, it was sweeper, sinker, curveball, four seam. And then he wrinkles in that changeup, that cutter. His ability to adapt to what the game calls for, and he said it himself, that is what separates good pitchers from great pitchers. If you don't have a feel for a pitch that day, but you can easily switch the usage rate to another pitch and still compete and still put up a good start, that's what separates it. And Nolan McLean has done that so far. And that's what I'm so impressed with him, about him. Because even a veteran like Clay Holmes, I know it's his first year starting in a while, but we saw early on, he kind of stuck with what worked. It was sinker, sweeper, slider, sinker, sweeper, slider. And he wasn't working in a lot of his changeups, his cutters. Nolan McLean, in 3 starts, again, has used every single pitch at a near different rate every single game. And that's just so impressive from such a young starter like him. And that's not to mention just, his ability to get ground balls as well. He has a 66 ground ball percentage. So get this, 66% of ground balls. Then he's striking out basically 29% of the batters. That's what 95% of his outs. So you have 5% to either hit a fly ball, a ground ball, or a hit. Leaving that so little room for the opposition to get anything is just so impressive. 95%.
No, that
strikeouts
is
or a ground ball. I'm just so impressed with him. It's the issue of why didn't they call him up sooner? And then, what was he working on in the minor leagues that allowed him to be what he is so far?
That's my counterpoint, because I've seen so many people saying oh, why wasn't he called up sooner? You don't know if this is what he is. If he's called,
right.
Granted, he probably would be. Would be, but you can't guarantee that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Where it's
for sure,
He could have been this. He could have been this if he started in April. Probably wouldn't have been. You can't tell that for sure. I think you're much happier waiting a little bit longer to get where he's at now.
Absolutely, and to further that point, I know for a fact the curveball was not used as much as he's using it right now until about a month ago. So that is, you can see it right there. They were making changes with him. The usage rate and the curveball is one of the best in baseball. I mean, you just look at the average movement from the average curveball. He gets 9 more inches of break, meaning it moves to west more, and he gets 3 more inches of drop compared to the average curveball. And the amount of spin it gets is only comparable to Charlie Morton, who has made a career on his curveball. It's so impressive, and I really can't sing his praises enough from such a young pitcher. It's really impressive, and they're going to need him down the stretch.
Yeah.
What else was I going to
No,
say?
I was going to say, it really is
But
just a thing of when it comes to those guys in the minors, especially pitchers, all it takes is one tweak. And say he was called up earlier, that one tweak may not happen.
Yeah, definitely. And, we're kind of seeing that Brandon Sproat, up until June, was having like his worst year in the minor leagues. And then since June, he's been one of the better pitchers in the minor leagues. So again, to your point, all it takes is one tweak, change this in your motion, use this pitch more. That's all it takes.
Grip this
And
pitch slightly differently.
Right, move your hand an inch to the right.
Not even an inch,
and you
a
get
centimeter to the right.
right.
Like,
or apply more pressure with this finger, and you get 5 more inches of vertical break. Like, it's as simple as that, but sometimes that's what's necessary. Simple. But yeah, super impressive Nolan McLean. Anything else on him before we move on?
No, that was pretty much all I had. That don't take for granted why he wasn't called up early.
Yeah. But another huge reason of this Mets sweep, like you mentioned, was the offense. And they've been much better for a while now. They've been a top 10 offense since July, and a lot of, WRC plus, OPS, stuff like that. In August, they're a top 3 offense, arguably number 1, number 2. They're second in runs scored, first in WRC plus, and first in OPS. And a lot of that has to do with the back half of the order. When Alvarez was healthy, he was running like a 160 WRC plus since in August. Marte has been amazing. Brett Beatty is having a really good August. And ladies and gentlemen, Mark Vientos is back. Last 30 games for Mark Vientos. He's hitting 297, 322 on base, don't care, 577 slug. 577 slug. That is the important metric right there. He can get on base 300 at 300 clip. I do not care as long as he's slugging 500. That is what Mark Vientos needs to do to be a viable major leaguer.
Yeah,
he has a 171 WRC plus in August. Sorry, Justin. 6 home runs this month alone. And I think 3 of those home runs came in like the last week.
I was just going to say the caliber of player Vientos is, where he's not your like star guys, but he's kind of like that middle tier, not middle tier your roster, but kind of like that step below, kind of where you want him to be. They either have to have an incredible on base or incredible slugging. You're okay sacrificing the other.
Absolutely.
Because Mark Vientos is not going to be he's not a superstar. You're okay with him having a low on base if he's hitting every ball out.
Exactly.
Because another thing with Mark Vientos, doesn't really matter if he's on base with how slow he is. Like, it's not like he's going to be stealing bases. It's not like he's going to be going first to third.
Barely. And sometimes he might not even score from second on a single.
Yeah, he's not scoring from first on a double.
Yeah, exactly. But like, this is like the perfect Mark Vientos, like a 320 on base, and even 570 is like huge. But like a 320 on base and like a 510 slug, I think is kind of like the nice middle ground.
It's an 830 OPS.
Exactly, and that's
like a call 133 WRC plus around there.
Right, give or take. And this shocked me. His season stat line is now up to league average. He has a 102 weighted run created plus on the year. That's from this just incredible hot streak. And it couldn't have come at a better time after losing Alvarez. So you kind of just like move Alvarez out and Vientos in, kind of in like offensive production. So him kind of figuring it out, better late than never. Nobody's going to care what you did in April if you have, a super hot end to the season. So Mark Vientos is back, and Brett Beatty's having a good August. Starling Marte, I love him. I think we did this last time. But Justin, we're going to do it again. What do you think is Starling Marte's WRC plus on the year?
120. A little higher, or a little low?
A little higher, a little higher.
128.
On the dot. 128 on the season.
First try.
799.
Bang!
799 OPS. 36-year-old Starling Marte. A 128 WRC plus, a 799 OPS. And I think this is because of his age and his legs, but as long as he's feeling good, Starling Marte needs to play every day. You can make it work because you're still not getting a lot of offensive production from center field. Cedric Mullins is basically what I expected him to be, and Tyrone Taylor had a good week. You saw Jeff McNeil play center field on Wednesday, last game against the Phillies. So you can mix in, Mark Vientos at third, Brett Beatty at second, Jeff McNeil in center field, get Marte in at DH, and you can have a really good offensive team. Like, on Fangraphs currently, this is their lineup they have on Roster Resource. I'm just going to go down the line of WRC plus of the hitters in the lineup. 124, 145, 140, 115, 100, 122, 109, 104, 73. That is 8 average to way above average hitters on this team. With Luis Torrens and, when Hayden Sanger plays with, the lesser. That we know how good of an offensive team this can be. We're finally seeing it. They just need to carry this team for the final month. We've been asking for it like all season. We've talked about it all season. This offense is not what it needed to be and up until recently. And even last night last night against the Marlins in the loss, they scored 4 runs, which is not a ton, but that puts you in a very good position. Now, we do need to talk about the bad, and we kind of talked about it already, but Sangam and Naya still aren't right. We talked about it. Ryan Helsley still absolutely sucks. Like, I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. Ryan Helsley has been it's been a disaster of a trade, if I'm being honest. And I think the thing is, the process was good, right? I think you gave up what you needed to give up for Ryan Helsley. He's a really good pitcher. He obviously is not what he was the past couple years, but he's still a really good relief pitcher. He should not be having an ERA over 10. His ERA with the Cardinals this year was a 3. Even with a 3.54 FIP, that's not bad. That's maybe not what you wanted, but if you had a 3.5 ERA with the Mets, you take that. But his ERA is over 10. His FIP is 6. It's just insane how bad he's been.
I'm sure you're about to mention it, but did you see the DeCuomo tweet?
Yes. Wait, right now? Or earlier?
Oh, last night about him.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, he is apparently tipping his pitches. I didn't read the story. I should have. That's on me. But he is tipping his pitches apparently. So they're working on to fix that. It seems like they've caught on to it already, but it's just I'm not sure why it's taking so long to fix it. But apparently that's the case.
I think they said over the last 4 starts, they've noticed it.
Yeah, so he's made 11 appearances with the Mets. So it took about 8 appearances to kind of, find it. So if that's the case, then hopefully it's as simple as that, because they could really use him, because this bullpen is a little shaky, if I'm being honest. It's Edwin Diaz and Tyler Rogers and Brooks Raley. Gregory Soto has kind of hit his first skid. Ryan Stanek is somehow still on this team. Jose Castillo's in to fill a spot.
Can I just say something on Helsley?
Go for it.
This is from the article. Almost
Thank you.
immediately upon Helsley's arrival in early August, team officials became convinced that he was tipping pitches. Helsley and Mets coaches have since identified the issue as a quote-unquote little tick the right-hander makes with his arms when coming set. The arm position changes based on whether Helsley is throwing a fastball or slider, which makes it a whole lot easier to hit. Yeah, then just other stuff. But he has 11 appearances, and you noticed it apparently almost right away.
Yeah. Why is it taking so long?
I don't know if that's a thing on him or that's a thing on the pitching coaches or if that's a thing just overall on both.
I would tend to lean on him. I think.
Would probably say like 75% him, 25% pitching coaches, because
yeah,
the pitching coaches, their entire job is to fix that. But at the same time, sometimes not sometimes. At the end of the day, it comes down to the player. And
right.
if the player cannot fix it, that is on the player.
Right. It's
especially
the whole
something
you
so
could lead a horse to water.
Something not I don't want to say something so small, but something that it will not affect how you pitch. Just doing it where you keep consistent instead of being here and here. If you just stay here, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to make you a 2 ERA pitcher to a 12 ERA pitcher. And even then, he has what'd you say, a 10 ERA, 11 ERA?
10.3.
A 10.3 ERA. So it's like, how much worse can it really get?
Yeah. And somehow it feels like it just gets worse with every appearance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if he obviously needs to fix that, and if he can, then I'd feel a lot better about this bullpen. But currently, there's about 3 guys you can trust, maybe.
And can you even pitch him now, though? Now that article is written, with that
You
article
can't.
written, if he is not fixed, because every team could be like, oh yeah, we heard he may have been tipping his pitches. No, now they know exactly how he is tipping his pitches. So unless he fixes this, or just completely scraps the slider, or completely scraps the fastball, whichever way you want to do it, you can't pitch him in in less than a 10-run game?
Yeah, basically. Like he has to pitch in blowouts, like either way. Like either the Mets are blowing out or the Mets are doing the blowing out. But yeah, he's just been so bad, and you can't trust him. Unfortunately, you just can't.
And I feel like out of the 3 guys, he's probably the best, just talent-wise, that the Mets acquired.
He should be.
He should be. Talent-wise, he's the best of the 3.
I mean, funny enough, up until recently, Gregory Soto was probably the best relief pitcher acquisition.
Best Soto in New York.
Yeah. Oh, I completely forgot, because I'm just looking at the roster resource. I completely forgot two injury reports. Jose Siri and Jesse Winker are both on rehab assignments. And also Tyler McGill is as well. So I missed 3. That's on me.
McGill's alive?
McGill's alive. Siri and Winker are probably still a bit of a ways away, but Tyler McGill is probably coming up next week when rosters expand, if I were to guess. No one said Siri. Shut up. Oh, well, I did, I guess.
You just activated all of our 3 listeners who have their iPhones.
I'm sorry. But, yeah, so there's that. I just bit my tongue. Ow. But going back to just the pitching as a whole, in August, the Mets are 23rd in team ERA. Funny enough, I want you to guess where they rank in FIP for the month.
What was the ERA? 5th, you said?
23rd.
So I'll go 5th.
6th. So, at least there's room for improvement. But yeah, the pitching just hasn't really been. I mean, it hasn't really been good for a while now. But Nolan McLean helps that a lot, and hopefully, Jonah Tong will help that. Because moving on to looking ahead, wrap things up. Today is Friday. Jonah Tong is making his major league debut
on Friday.
I will be there. It just so happened to line up absolutely perfectly. Um, Justin, initial reaction when you saw Jonah Tong is getting the call.
What? I did not think. First off, I didn't think it was even a chance. Second off, now you are cursed with my curse of having a player on the team that is younger than you.
By 9 days.
9 days. Jason
My
Dominguez, I
birthday
think,
is
is
June
like
10th. His birthday is June 19th.
I think Dominguez is 4 months for me, but it's
Yeah.
you will feel old now.
I definitely feel old. But this year, between AA and AAA, Jonah Tong had a 1.43 ERA, a 1.67 FIP, striking out 14 batters per 9. That is a 40.5% strikeout rate. Since moving up to AAA, striking out 38% of the batters he faced, only walking 7.6. That's down from 11% when he was in AA.
The thing that I think shocked me the most with him is that he was a seventh round pick in 2022, and he kind of just came out of nowhere. It felt.
Yeah.
I did not, because there's some guys that are just like fast risers, whatever. This is an insanely fast riser, just to come out of nowhere and then to do that. So I was shocked that he was even in consideration for this year.
So am I, and you kind of got that sense after he got moved up to AAA that, push comes to shove, we can see him. And he made 2 starts in AAA, 11 and 2/3 innings. He struck out, if I could find it,
37. You could do it.
he struck out 17 batters in those 11 2/3 innings. He gave up 0 earned runs. Wow, that's crazy. He gave up 0 earned runs in those 2 starts and allowed only 8 hits, 3 walks. 11 base runners in 11 innings. That's like a 1 whip.
Yeah.
Insane. Absolutely insane stuff. He's been compared to Tin Lincecum a lot because of his delivery. Just very up and down, and his arm drops a lot, and he comes very over the top. And that plays a big reason into why his fastball is so good, because he gets a lot of the kind of rising action of that fastball, and then he has his changeup that comes from the same spot and just drops off at the table. The issue with Tong, this is what I'm going to be looking at, is he's kind of just a 2-pitch pitcher. It was the fastball changeup, and that was kind of like, or I think it was a slider really, but I think it was his changeup. But basically, it was fastball changeup in some sense, and that's really all he threw. And he was able to just mow down batters that way. So the biggest thing for him is going to be controlling and using his other breaking pitches, the slider and the curveball, especially against lefties. That might be his little bugaboo. But the fastball will play, the changeup will play. It's just about, using the slider and the curveball. And, the Marlins are a good, like, stepping point, like getting your toes wet. They're not a bad offensive team, but they're also not great. Like the Mariners for Nolan McLean's first start, that was tough. They are a very good offensive team, and he did really good to kind of shut them down. Jonah Tong gets a little bit of an easier, or should be an easier stepping stone. Again, they're not a bad offensive team, but they're not as good as the Mariners. They're not the Phillies. They're not the Braves. As bad as the Braves have been. So very excited for Jonah Tong. But yeah, I'm shocked, especially because Brandon Stroh is still in AAA. It doesn't sound like he's getting a call anytime soon. So the fact that Jonah Tong leapfrogged him, I think is just a little crazy, especially after 2 AAA starts. But that's tonight. To finish up the Marlins series, we got David Peterson against Edward Cabrera on Saturday, and then Kodai Senga, I think, against Sandy Alcantara on Sunday. The Marlins have it on as TBD, but I think that is Sandy's day to pitch. And then they go to Detroit for a 3-game set. They do miss Tariq Skubal, so thank God. And then after that, they have a big series against the Reds. And I think the Reds are currently 4.5 games back of the Mets for the final wild card spot, if I'm not wrong. I'm going to double check that. The Reds are currently 4 games back of the Mets for the final wild card spot. And then you got that big 4-game set against the Phillies coming up pretty soon. They're off to a bad start. But ideally, I think if you could somehow get the lead to 2 to 3 games heading into the series, heading into that 4-game set in Philadelphia, I think you'd be in a good spot. Because I think just going to that Philly series, I think best case scenario is a split. And I think that's what best case scenario and the necessary scenario is a split. Because at the very least, you will go out the way you came in. So if you come in 2 games back, you'll come out 2 games back. And I think that will put them in a good spot to maybe make a push. But if they really want to make a push, they have to take that series in Philly. And that's obviously not easy to do.
Yeah.
But that's in a few weeks. That's in another week and a half. But
And
yeah,
again,
that's really all I had.
I was going to say, it's not everything, but the Mets do have the 6th hardest strength schedule left, and Phillies are at 12th.
Right. So we'll see what happens. I think, next weekend against the Reds is going to be big for that wild card. You can hopefully kind of bury them a little bit. And then the Philly series is kind of just, those are the 2 I'm really looking at. And everything else, just win the series against everyone else. But the Reds and the Phillies are the 2 last remaining big series that you have. And obviously you're not off to a great start after last night against the Marlins, but you looked really good against Philly. Kind of, channel that. Offense needs to carry for once.
I'd say the Cubs, too.
And yeah, I mean, the Cubs are a big series, but it doesn't have as much direct influence. Because, the Reds are behind you, the Phillies are ahead of you. The Cubs you want to win against, obviously. But, there's not as much direct influence on your playoff position playing the Cubs. Unless you completely drop the ball.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, because the Cubs are a couple games ahead, but...
Yeah, and the Cubs also kind of spiraling.
Yeah.
Just a spinch.
They're 6-4 in the last 10.
Oh, maybe they're coming out of it.
Yeah.
But that's really all I had.
All 3 NL wildcard teams are 6-4 in the last 10.
Of course, no one wants to give up ground. But yeah, that's all I
Phillies
had.
and Dodgers
Do
are
you have
also 6-4.
anything else? Nobody's giving up ground. I think that's just it. We're done.
Yeah.
This is it. But if you had anything else, go ahead. If not,
So,
take us away.
we will go into the Bronx.
Now entering the Bronx.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Bronx. Before anything, your injury update brought to you by the Triboro MD. So, let's get the negative out of the way. Jonathan Loizaga, his season is over with a right flexor strain that he had during his rehab assignment. He is the stereotypical reliever that throws hard, doesn't know where it's going, and just hurts himself too much. And it sucks to see because he is... I know even you said in the offseason you wanted him a lot for the Mets because of the talent. And sucks to see, but the writing was kind of also on the wall, where when he came back, I don't know how he would have been used.
Yeah.
But Ryan Yarbrough, he could be activated as soon as August 31st, and when he is activated, he is going to be in a bullpen role. So, and I like that too. I think I can't remember if I talked about it or not, but Brent Hedrick, he also went on the IL, and so you really only have the one lefty in Tim Hill. And Tim Hill, they love to use him every single day, but he's not going to give you length at the end. He may give you 2 innings every here and there, but to have a guy like Yarbrough come out of the bullpen and call it because I love the idea of piggyback starts. And let's just call it Will Warren or Cam Schlittler, because they've only been going like 5 innings. Schlittler has been doing well. He's been pitching into the 6th inning and 7th inning. But for those guys, being able to have a Yarbrough come in to pitch 2-3 innings after, huge. Just love that idea. That funky, especially after Schlittler, because I don't think you could find 2 more opposite matchups. Maybe Tim Hill and Yarbrough, but even that may be the only concern. Now that I think about it, that Tim Hill and Yarbrough are kind of similar in a sense, just kind of like the crafty lefties. I wish one of them could like throw a little harder, but I'm not. That's like a nitpick, smaller thing. Whatever you got at the deadline, you got enough guys that throw hard. But yeah, love to see Yarbrough come back. Then Aaron Judge, he is continuing tossing at distances up to 150 feet. Not at full velocity yet. Still hasn't played the outfield since coming back about 3 weeks ago. No timetable to return. And I think that here I should mention the comments with Aaron Boone. Because Aaron Boone said that he said this like 2 weeks ago, that if Aaron Judge came back to play the outfield, he wouldn't be throwing 100%. And Aaron Judge responded saying he didn't know why Boone would say that.
Yeah, that was a weird, like, half hour after those comments came out. Yeah.
How do you not know? You know what I mean? Like
it's just bizarre. Like, why? There was like no connection. Like, it seemed like there was a disconnect.
Like, there. I get it if it's like a guy in the minors you may not know about, whatever. But your star player who's is in the middle of his prime in an MVP race. I'm only saying MVP race to say the caliber of play he is at right now.
Very, very, very odd.
It makes no sense. And I'll talk more on Judge because I am getting, I don't want to say concerned, but there is a level that I'm kind of getting to, and I'll get into that later because I kind of just want to, quick little rundown for me. I couldn't watch a lot of these games because I was in Aruba, and you can't use YouTube TV or Gotham Sports outside of the country. And Stream East only worked half the time. The other half of the time, I was somewhere else and I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I couldn't do it. So I watched like bits and pieces of innings here and there. I couldn't watch the entirety of the games, but the Rays series I did watch. So, can you even call it a series? But the first 2 games the 2 games, shellackings. You did your jobs. You scored 19 runs. All 19 were off home runs. You had 9 home runs in the first game. You had 2 from Stanton, 2 from Caballero, 2 from Bellinger. Second game, I think the biggest thing was Cam Schlittler just being absurd. He had 6 perfect innings, and it was a thing of, I was packing for the trip while this was going on, and I was like running to CVS to get stuff, coming back, running to CVS again because we forgot stuff, coming back, packing. So I'm like trying to watch the game, trying to watch a potential perfect game while all of this shit is going on.
Yeah.
And he ended up not doing it, and you could tell he kind of just like ran out of gas in that 7th inning, which fair because he has been like a 5 and fly guy, like maybe pitching into the 6th inning.
But by far his longest outing.
What a fucking start from him. I know it's the Rays. Say what you want, like Rays, but it's also in a minor league ballpark, essentially. Yeah. So,
very impressive.
Phenomenal start from him. Stanton had a pinch hit, go ahead, 2-run home run in the 10th inning. I don't think I talked about this. I know I talked about him being better as a pinch hitter, but I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast. The reason why he said he's better as a pinch hitter is that when did I talk about this?
Oh, no.
So he said, like, in the past, when he would get a day off, like, when he was just go back to Miami, when he was an everyday player.
Yes.
Did I talk about this?
You did mention this. At least we talked about it.
Yeah. I may have said it, I may not have. But when he was with Miami, he would start, call it 12 out of 13 days. And then that last day, he would kind of just check out because he wasn't starting that day, and he would come in, pinch hit, not do well. But now the way he is, he knows he's at the point of his career where he will be used as a pinch hitter a lot more, so he's staying locked in. He's changing his preparation on those days he's pinch hitting, and it's been incredible. There was a tweet I saw where pretty much I think he had like one strikeout, then every other at bat was a hit, and I think only one of those hits was not an extra base hit. So he's just been absurdly clutch as a pinch hitter.
Yeah.
Love to see that. But yeah, that was the Rays series. Took care of business. Whatever. Congrats. Nice. Where
stuff.
the issue is this Boston series. And the first 3 games, what do you think they had more of? Runs or errors?
I believe it was errors.
It was errors. They had 4 runs and 5 errors. Granted, 4 of those errors came in the first game, but still. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Because you look at, I'm sure you saw the comments that Alex Cora had.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, it's fun to come here and play well. I'll tell you that we play well here. We've been playing well here for a while. It's a great stage. We love it. And Alex Cora, at New York Yankees in his career is 20 and 40. Or the Yankees are 20 and 40.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I messed it up. Other way.
40 and 20?
No, he is 20 and 40. So he is saying that just to like get under kind of like the Yankees skins. The Yankees have taken care of them at Yankee Stadium. But that also doesn't give you... You're not happy about that because you've lost... No, it wasn't a sweep. You are 2-5 against the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium this year.
Yeah.
Not good whatsoever. Game 1, you had the 4 errors. Luis Gil had, I believe, 11 base runners through 5 innings. And he only allowed the 1 run, which somehow... Game 2 had to have been better, right?
Yeah.
You had 4 people on base. You did not have a single runner in scoring position this game. Game 3, not much better. Scored 1 run off a Giancarlo solo shot. Will Warren got absolutely shit on. Then Game 4, they beat up on Dustin May, who's had a year.
Woohoo.
I don't even know where to start with this series.
Bad.
They just came out lifeless. They didn't, because I even said in the group chat, because the Boone quotes on Judge came out a couple of days before this, and then they come out flat horrible in the first 3 games. I said, like, if they get swept on Sunday Night Baseball, is that grounds for firing?
Yeah, I said no.
I lean no too, but what a horrible fucking look.
Yeah.
Because I'll kind of get more into it later. This is the most talented team they've had in a while. Just top to bottom, depth-wise. One of the most talented teams they've had in a while. That's without Garrett Cole. That's with losing Juan Soto. That's with losing the starting second baseman for the All-Star team. Yeah. That's with losing a bunch of guys. Losing a former All-Star closer. Losing a plethora of people. And this still is the best depth they've had on the Yankees in I don't even know how long. Because I would say 2019, but 2019 was just a bunch of juice ball merchants. Like, you look at a bunch of those guys on the 2019 team, where they are without juice balls, and it is not good.
Right.
Brett Gardner hit 29 home runs, for God's sake.
Remind me where DJ LeMahieu is right now?
Cancun. I was thinking more like the Gio Urshela's, Mike Talkman's.
Yeah.
There's more guys, too, that just had, like, these crazy years you didn't see coming. But to come out... It's one thing to lose 3 out of 4. That's bad, obviously. But to come out flat in this is a absolute joke to me. Especially when I believe you were a game and a half ahead of the Red Sox. Now you are a half game back of the Red Sox. It's just so bad.
It was a big series.
It was.
And they just didn't show up.
Right now, you're tied with the Red Sox in the loss column. Yankees have played 1 less game, so they have 1 less win. But at the same time, you lost the season series to them and Toronto. So no matter what, you have to have one more game than them, one more win than them if you want to pass them. That's just what it comes down to. And I still think you could do Boston. I still think you could hot Boston because Boston, MLB strength of schedule, because I know Toronto is kind of possible because they have the 5th hardest schedule. Boston 16th. Yankees are 24th for remaining schedule. I've also seen some people say like the easiest because they still do 6 more games against the White Sox, 7 against the Orioles, 3 against the Twins.
Yeah, that helps.
The Blue Jays have a brutal schedule coming up because they have 3 games against the Brewers, 3 against the Red Sox, 3 against the Yankees, 3 against the Astros, 3 against the Royals, 3 against the Reds. And even then, the quote-unquote easiest opponents, they have 10 games against the Orioles and Blue Jays. Or Orioles and Rays. Not good teams, but they're still divisional opponents, and you never know what can happen in divisional games.
Yeah.
So, to come out fucking flat against a team that you are actively fighting against for a division and wildcard spot is abysmal. It's a joke. I don't even know where to begin with assigning blame because another thing about it too, Aaron Judge was not particularly well in the series. He's not been particularly well since kind of like the All-Star break. He has a 112 WRC plus in that time. Don't know when he's going to come back and play the field. Obviously, I'm not blaming him for not playing the field. I'd much rather him be DHing than not doing it.
Yeah.
That's also forcing Giancarlo Stanton to have to play in the field. And he already had to not play a couple games because he wasn't recovering as well as they would like him to.
Shocker.
So, yeah, I know. Seriously. You need your captain to step up to play better. There also is something to the fact that I don't have his exact numbers, but since he got hit in the head by Volpe, his numbers have also been kind of like the same area of like the league average WRC plus wise. Gotta hope it's not a concussion because
I don't
think so.
I think that's just not there's no correlation. It's kind of just like I forget what the saying is, but
yeah.
It happened. It so happened to also.
The only reason I would say otherwise is how they handled the Rizzo concussion.
No, I know.
How he played for 2 months without them diagnosing it.
Yeah,
that's the only reason
left
why.
with a bad taste in your mouth, for sure.
But he's just got to play better. Like, I know, like, 112 WRC plus, like, that's not bad. But you were actively in the middle of a stretch of one of the best, like, peaks of all time. 112 is horrible.
Yeah, like, 112 isn't going to cut it.
Like, it's seriously not.
That's high expectations, but in a way, he put it on himself
by being so good. And,
like,
the reason why, because
it's got to be better.
They swept the Nationals. They shit pumped them. They shit pumped the White Sox last night.
Shit pumped.
You never heard that term?
No.
But a big reason of that is because the team around him has been hitting so well. Because here's a stat that I saw. Let me get it up right now. That Yankees lefties to hit 30 or more home runs in the Aaron Judge era. So from 2017 to now. There have only been 2 times that a lefty has hit 30 home runs in that span. You have 4 guys that could legitimately do it this year. In Grisham at 26, Grisham at 27, Bellinger at 26, Chisholm at 26, Rice at 22. You have had 7 lefties that have hit 20 or more home runs in the Aaron Judge era. You may have 5 this year. Because Austin Wells is at 18. So the offense around them has been so much better. This is kind of what I mean about the depth of this team is so much better than what you've had in other years. Because you have Ben Rice, 133 WRC+, Grisham, 133 WRC+, Cody Bellinger, 132, Jazz, 130. That is 4 guys that are in the 130s, and that's not including Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton. And Giancarlo Stanton has, I forget how many home runs, but he has, I think, 18 home runs, or not 18 home runs, but like 12 home runs in 50 games.
Yeah.
Something crazy. He's just on another level. He's at like a 1.05 OPS, something absurd. And that's why this team is still winning games with Judge going down. And I don't know when or if he even comes back, because how much is that form affecting him being able to swing? You know what I mean? And because another reason why I said like I'm a little worried about like I don't think he has a concussion, but worried. Aaron Judge is one of the toughest motherfuckers you will find. People forget that he played through a punctured lung for 2 months and didn't say anything until the offseason. People forget that happened. And just, it's tough. He needs to play better. Like, I can't keep saying it, but like that's just what it comes down to, because
that's all you can say.
Everyone else is doing their job. Well, not everyone else. Mostly everyone else.
The big guys
is doing their job. And of course, it wouldn't be the Bronx without me hyping up Ben Rice, because Ben Rice has just been absurd. He is the 10th highest WRC plus since the All-Star break, and all of his underlying numbers are still the exact same. He's hitting multiple balls above 110 miles an hour, and I believe it was the game where they had 4 base runners. 2 of those hits were Ben Rice. And
he's so good.
The thing of, and again, do not hear what I am not saying when I say this. What makes Juan Soto so good?
Plate discipline.
Essentially what I was going to say. His balance between contact quality and hitting the ball hard.
I see.
So this is a tweet from Ryan Garcia. I'm not going to pretend like I made this numbers up.
You're that smart.
But
yeah.
he is tied. They are both tied for the lowest whiff rate amongst hitters with a barrel rate at or above 14%. So they're whiffing at, what is it? At 22.7% of the time, while having barrel rates of 17 for Ben Rice, 17.8 for Juan Soto. Again, I am not calling Ben Rice Juan Soto. I am just saying he has that very unique ability of balancing contact quality with power and just ability to make contact.
It's pretty outrageous to call Ben Rice the next Juan Soto. Just
I am not calling. Well, he is the best Dominican
he's
number 22 in New York. So
New York, of course. But yeah, he's been so impressive, and we've never changed on Ben Rice. This has been a pro Ben Rice podcast the entire year. Even last year, this has been a pro Ben Rice podcast, and he's finally, the underlying metrics are finally coming through. That's really all this is. His rolling expected weighted on base has never dipped below league average.
Yeah.
In over 250 plate appearances, has never dipped below league average. It was just a matter of time. It's annoying how baseball works, but these things even out at the end of the day. I would not be shocked if he finished with a 900 OPS.
And like the thing is too, all the underlying numbers are a profile of a guy that's, what do you think, like a top 20 hitter in baseball, top 25?
Yeah, top 25 for sure.
And the thing is too, he's been playing catcher a lot more, and he's been doing very well behind the plate. You can see a lot of the guys like him behind the plate, and he's been playing, call it, if they play 6 games, 5 games, if they play 5 to 6 games a week,
yeah,
at 3 different positions, or 2 different positions, because Judge is DHing, but
yeah. He's a perfectly average catcher, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, especially if he's going to give you the offense he's been giving you.
Yeah. And that also, Austin Wells has been kind of like up, and he's been hitting a little bit better as of late, which is good to see, but he hasn't been that good, so you can't justify putting him in over Ben Rice.
Yeah, no way.
There's I still believe in Austin Wells, but the other guy that we just need to talk about is, and I am not giving up on Anthony Volpe in the future. I was going to say this year is a different story.
Yeah.
Because there was a point before last night where I think he got out in his first at-bat, where he was 1 for his last 38. He, out of 88 players with 1,500 plate appearances since the beginning of 2023, 88th in batting average, 88th in on base, 87th in WRC plus, 87th in OPS. The reason I'm saying I am not giving up on him for next year's is because 1, he's cheap. 2, have him in spring training, make him do changes, make him stick to that. If he doesn't prove he'd do it earlier next year, that's when you make a change for permanent.
He has 3 options. Let's
I
not
don't
forget that.
My thing though is if you send him down, who are you calling up?
Fair.
Like that's
Is Caballero still in the contract? Is he not?
yeah. I'm not saying Volpe should start. I think
Yeah.
Caballero should start.
You figure out who to call up. I mean, it's not that. I don't think it's that big of a thing. It's your 26th man on your roster. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Personally, just call up. Bring back JC Escara. Call it a day.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't, because my thing, and I truly believe that the Yankees are part of the issue with Volpe and the way they did it, and we all pushed for him to get called up or be the starting shortstop 2023. Could have been the wrong choice. And another thing too,
He earned it. Let's not forget
he did,
that.
yes.
He 100% earned it.
But another thing too is, and a lot of people have been saying this, it has come to a point where the Yankees have tried to defend Volpe so much that has caused most of the criticism.
I said this like a year or 2 ago. They put themselves in such a bad corner with how much they've defended him, because now if they do anything involving him, A, that's going to hurt his confidence, and B, that means you were wrong. No organization wants to be wrong.
Brian Cashman especially.
Yeah, the Yankees have put themselves in a position to be proven wrong. They've defended him way too much. I understand he was a top prospect. I understand he had a lot of potential. Nothing deserved for him to get that much catering. That's a little harsh, but he hasn't shown a ton to, deserve to be that much defended. It's
because
poor wording, but yeah.
A big reason of that is because of the fans, I think. Because the fans wanted to anoint him the next Derek Jeter. And that is
strike
not
one.
fair. That I said that too, at the very beginning. That is not fair. That is just not fair to put that on a guy just because he is a shortstop that grew up a Yankee fan and is coming up young. Drafted out of high school, first-round pick. You can't do that to a player, and you're seeing that so much with other prospects in the Yankees farm system. You're going to see that with George Lombard too, where people are going to act like he's the next best thing since sliced bread, and if he is a solid major leaguer, then people are going to be disappointed. You're seeing that with Dax Kilby right now, the Yankees' first-round pick. I believe it was about the 30th overall pick in the draft. I forget because people getting moved up and down because of penalties, all that. And because he has this innate ability to not strike out. He just has not struck out so far. His contact quality for an 18-year-old is kind of insane. But it's only been a month and a half, and people are already anointing him, saying oh, are we going to see him in 2 years?
Yeah.
As an 18-year-old drafted out of high school?
That's a fundamental misunderstanding of drafting, and then just straight up stupid thinking. That's just, I'm sorry, that's not how baseball works.
I was going to say, baseball is different than any other sport. Except maybe hockey, a little similar to hockey in that sense.
Yeah.
But
unless you're a top 10 pick, you're not seeing that guy for 2 years minimum. We're now just entering an age where you can get drafted last year and make an impact now.
I was going to say, that's really just started to happen.
Yes, that's within the past 2 years. Paul Skeens, Nick Kurtz, Chase Burns. And that's only a handful of guys. Neto as well. Yeah, true. He was kind of one of the first ones.
Yeah.
But that's only a handful of guys. You don't see that a lot, but you are seeing it now. But what's the commonality between all of those guys?
They're top 5 picks.
Yeah, top 5. forget top 10, like I said, it's like top 5.
Yeah.
So,
And all of them were out of college, too.
yes. So they're all, a little more
All like
proven.
21, 22 had that development from high programs. Because I forget where Kurtz and Burns went, but I know that
I'll look it up.
Paul Skeens was obviously LSU.
LSU, yeah.
So that's like that and Vanderbilt are like the poster childs for that.
Yeah, Nick Kurtz was on Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Another top college. Chase Burns was...
I know he was a top... Was he Vanderbilt?
He might have been Vanderbilt. No, Chase Burns was Wake Forest as well.
Zach Neto, where did Neto go to, if that's where you're looking at?
Neto went to Campbell University.
Never heard of it, but...
Yeah, exactly.
There's going to be outliers for
Neither
everything.
have I.
Again, we're also
sure.
not... They could be a really good school for all we know. We're not big in
college is
baseball.
not my expertise.
Yeah, we're not going to pretend like that, but... I think it just does come down to that, too. Where you look at Miguel Andor, Clint Frazier, where they put so much... And I will say Miguel Andor is a
Smoke
different
up
story.
their ass?
Andor is a different story, though, because he did set the record for doubles in the American League by a rookie.
He had a good start. He just didn't continue.
Then he separated his shoulder like 4 games in 2019, and then it kind of just like fell off a cliff. So that's a little bit of a different story.
Until now.
Yeah, until now.
Come back.
He's always had a good bat, though. We'll say that. But sometimes these guys just don't pan out. And that's something that we all, especially me, have to realize. And I think that a lot of people just put way too much faith in like, oh, prospect will do this. No, that is why I am such a firm believer in I will trade prospects for superstars. I don't care. Unless they're a top 5 prospect, a top 3 prospect, and even then, those guys don't pan out. They're still prospects until they prove it.
Yep.
It's almost like having a generational Hall of Famer defensive end and trading him for 2 first-round picks when those are going to be late first-round picks.
Yeah, why would you do that? It makes no sense.
Well, because you'd be getting a 30-year-old declining defensive tackle.
Oh, well, that solves everything, doesn't it?
A cut candidate for next year, the way his contract works.
Oh, interesting.
Anyways, anyways.
It's okay, Justin. I know other Yankee fans feel your pain.
Yeah. Don't make the joke. At least other Yankees fans also got Luka, but yeah, no, that's the whole rant on Volpe. Caballero needs to be a starting shortstop. He has a 139 WRC plus since becoming a Yankee. And the only thing about him not being the starting shortstop is he just has so much value playing all over the field. Yeah. And
the thing is, sorry to cut you off, but you can always switch out mid-game. Like, you could put Volpe at shortstop, like, late in the game.
That's why I don't want to send him down.
Right. That's fair.
Just because I think he does have value as, like, a late-inning defensive replacement. And the thing with Caballero, too, is that if Aaron Judge isn't playing the outfield, Caballero has been the guy replacing Stanton, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it could easily just be, hey, move to right, Volpe at short.
But that's what I mean. I just think that Volpe still, they don't have someone that could do that instead of Volpe.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me circle back. When I said sent him down, I don't mean this year. I meant like going into next year. I think that's an option that needs to be on the table.
Oh, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I didn't make that clear. That's on me. But
yeah, that's
this year, no.
That's why I was
next year, yes.
That's why I was giving you pushback because I thought you meant
yes.
this year.
No, that's my bad.
Yeah, you can't.
Going into next year, yeah, you can't pencil him in. I don't think.
No, I 100% agree with that.
All right, cool.
But just he needs to play well. Another thing too is just kind of because he does have the 2 home runs, but that was all from one game. That was what he had this year before that. So you can't really rely on him for the power. But look, he's going to give you a lot of value with speed. He has 8 stolen base attempts. He got caught stealing once. Even then, that caught stealing was because he overslid the bag.
Yeah.
So he was safe by a good bit.
He got beat, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you saw that one stolen base he had where he was at second base before the ball left the pitcher's hand,
Yeah.
which was one of the craziest jumps I've seen in my entire life. He needs to start. That's, I think, all I had on the offense. Yeah. The only other thing was, remember our over/under for a WAR for Bellinger and Goldschmidt?
Yes.
Do you know what WAR Cody Bellinger's at? So the
He's
line
at-
was 4.45.
I think he's at 4.
He's at 4.3.
Yeah.
He made 2. He legitimately is gonna do it himself.
Yeah. I was right about Goldschmidt though.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just remembering what you said about him not doing much for the WAR department. He still is
yeah.
valuable on this team.
For
But-
sure. Yeah. No, for sure. He still has a spot. It still makes sense.
Fucking
He still murders
crushes
lefties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't need him to hit righties. Like, that's the thing
No.
too. You don't.
You
need
never
him
did.
to.
You never did. That's the
did.
thing.
But because I'm fine with Austin Wells getting a couple of starts behind the plate and then just Ben Rice at first. It's almost like we've been saying
Yes.
that the entire year. Who would have thought? But the last thing I will say about the bats, and this is more about the fielding than the bats themselves, I still don't get why Trent Grisham is in center field over Bellinger.
Yeah.
Because Grisham's just jumps have not been good, and
Can he
I
not
think
play a corner? Like, is that
he
that
like
it?
he doesn't. I just don't think he has subpar speed, and his jumps haven't been that good. He makes crazy plays. He does. I think he would just be so much better in a corner, and that's not me shitting on Grisham. Do not hear that as me shitting on Grisham. I just think that Bellinger is such a better center fielder. Go on.
He has not played a corner outfield spot since 2019. So that's probably your answer right there. Because I know for the Mets, Taylor is a much better center fielder than Cedric Mullins, but Cedric Mullins is not comfortable in a corner, so you just can't play him there. And as annoying as it is, that is what it is.
Yeah. Which.
So that just might be the case here.
Yeah. Where Bellinger's versatility almost hurts him, or almost hurts.
And
the
to be
Yankees.
fair, this is the first year Grisham has ever had a negative outs above average.
Yeah. It's just the jumps. He has some of the worst jumps routinely in baseball, while having below average speed.
Yeah.
So it's like, but Trent Grisham is going to make himself a lot of money.
Yes.
I would love Trent Grisham back on this team, but I wouldn't do him well.
He played himself out.
He played himself out of it, frankly. He has, what I said, was it 26 or 27? I think it was 27 home runs.
Yes, he has 27.
Yeah, 27 home runs on the year.
830 OPS.
830, yeah, just. He's
and
good.
I think some of the best underlying metrics of his career.
Yeah.
So buyer beware.
Yeah.
I don't make that clear.
You want to hear something crazy too? He has a higher on base than Ben Rice.
It's kind of nuts.
It's only by like 10 points.
Yeah.
But still,
That's just the Ben Rice unluckiness.
Yeah, seriously. But that what else do I want to talk about? I'll talk about Cam Schluttler for a little bit. I'm not gonna get too much into like pitch mix, all that, because frankly I didn't have too much time to get into that. But I think, and a lot of people have kind of been like talking about this on Twitter. The thing that I think is the most impressive to me is that he has an effortless just motion. Like he doesn't have some crazy like what is it?
Yeah.
Not sublimation. What is it? Like with the elbow, like the pronate, submate.
Oh, pronation.
Yeah, he doesn't have like crazy stuff like that. And he'll
Yeah.
throw 100. He threw 101 miles an hour, and you look at the pitch, it just looked effortless. It looked just all kind of like body momentum, just letting him do. And like
It's not like
his frame.
Chapman, where like he kind of like he pulls his whole body together and he lunges and then tosses 105 at your face.
Yeah, it's very similar to. And again, I am not comparing him to Garrett Cole.
Wow, Cam Schlittler's the next Garrett Cole. Justin, why would you say that?
But guys like Garrett Cole, where the reason why they
like
were
Cam
able,
Schlittler?
no, like Garrett Cole, the reason that
Uh-huh.
they were able to be so
Cam
durable is because they aren't doing this crazy stuff to generate velo. It's just because of the way that their windup is, and they're not killing their bodies doing it.
Yeah.
That being said, I still am a little bit worried because, like we were talking about with Tong and McLean, they changed something, and they became a lot different pitchers because of it. Cam Slater was throwing 93 and 94 at the beginning of this year.
Right.
I don't know what he changed exactly to make him throw this much, so that will always be something in the back of my head. Like, how on God's green earth is that possible in half of a year to make a guy add 6-7 miles an hour?
Yeah.
But no,
sometimes it's as easy as just a wind up change.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get more power from your legs, like better torque, better, what's the word? Like you're in line with
I
your
get what you
body,
mean,
whatever. Yeah, sometimes it's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, he's been incredible. He's been a revelation
Absolutely.
for this team.
Yeah.
Then
Huge.
I will give Max Fried credit too, because I think I did call him out a decent amount on last episode. He had his best start in a while against the Red Sox. He went 6 scoreless. And even then he kind of like tapered off into the end, kind of got like a lot less efficient into the end, so he could have gone even longer than that. And then the team just fucking sucked, so he didn't get a win. They didn't win that game, but he pitched them into a win.
Yeah.
The offense did not hit. So
can't do much more than that.
Yeah. And there's
he can't hit anymore.
He's been using his sinker more, which has just led to better results. And I would love to keep seeing that. He is so important for this team. The reason I was so critical on him is like why I was so critical with Judge today. In the fact of they are so good, they showed you who they are, they need to be better.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Like Aaron Judge, I get it, you have an injury going on, but at the same time, if you're playing, if you're on the field,
pick it up.
Gotta produce.
Yeah.
And a guy that has produced a lot. In his last 8 appearances, Devin Williams has 7 1/3 innings, no runs, only 3 base runners. Do you know how many strikeouts in 7 1/3 innings?
15.
So 22 outs he's gotten. You said 15?
15. 22.
18.
18. I was going to say 18 too.
He has gotten 22 outs and 18 of them are strikeouts. That is absurd. And it really is a thing of he has not been good on the year. Everyone's aware of that. But
he's cost himself a lot of money.
He has. A lot of the reason why he has not been good is because he's been closing. When he's in that 7th, 8th inning spot, I don't know what it is. He just looks so much more comfortable. And there even is an argument to be made that when Josh Hader was on the team, he was better in that 8th inning role than he was in the 9th inning role.
Yeah.
So I truly think that I don't care what situation, he cannot be closing games because he is so elite at that setup man, like bridge man role.
Yeah.
And
the good thing about trade deadline is you got like 3 closers.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about Luke Weaver too is Luke Weaver's just, they've been using him in kind of like, I like to call like the rover role, where he's kind of just like pitching wherever they need him to pitch. And I think I don't think it's the reason why they're doing it. Part of the thing is it's probably going to bring Luke Weaver's price down a little bit because he's not closing games, even though I think he may be the best closer on this team still.
Less saves, less money.
Yeah. And I do think that this may be a hot take.
System.
I still trust him more than Bednar. I think he is a better closer right now than David Bednar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel on that, but
I think that's fair. I'm not sure if I agree, but I can't disagree, I guess. We've seen Weaver do it. I think that's just the bigger thing, especially in New York. Obviously,
that's the thing for me.
Bednar has had a good start, but yeah.
And then the other 2 guys, like kind of like if you want to talk about them in the bullpen, is I forgot to mention that Fernando Cruz came back and his stuff looks as disgusting as ever. Has some of the funniest facial reactions on the mound.
Be back.
But when it comes down to Camilo Duvall and David Bednar, Bednar's been great. Duvall has such good stuff. He really has such good stuff. He just needs to be better. And I do know like he has pitched into some bad luck with the Yankees so far, and I do think he will turn that corner. But yeah, he needs to pitch better. I think he will pitch better down the stretch, and this bullpen really is turning out into a super bullpen, the way that it's going, and as long as they don't pitch Devin Williams in the 9th inning, I am all in on Devin Williams. That's all that I ask. And
That's fair.
this is kind of what I'm getting into, and what I said earlier about this is the deepest team the Yankees have had in a while. They've always had good bullpens. I don't think they've ever had a bullpen this disgusting.
Yeah.
Since probably 2019, when you had Ottavino, Chapman, Britton, Betances. Just on pure stuff-wise, this is one of the best bullpens they've had in a while. And the starting pitching is, so weird. Because you've had Fried and Rodon. Entire year, they've been awesome. Cam Schlittler, who's been disgusting. And I think there's a strong argument that he's been your 3rd best pitcher. And I saw an argument, I forget who it was someone on MLB Network, they said it a couple of days ago, that they think that Cam Schlittler in a playoff series for the Yankees should be the number 2 starter to break up the lefties.
Interesting. I personally, in the playoff series, holy crap, I don't think breaking up righty lefties is that big of a deal.
Mhm.
I think you just got to start your best, but I can see it.
Now
I'm not sure if I'm ready for him
I'm
to
not either.
start.
Oh, I'm ready for him to start a playoff game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not ready for him to start that.
The second one.
Well, here's the thing. Say that, because I know there is strategy, because it most likely if the Yankees make the playoffs, they are playing a wild card weekend.
Yep.
And there is this strategy of when do you pitch your best starters?
Yeah.
Let's say that they go Max Fried game 1. You win that game. Is Cam Schlittler your game 2 starter? Try and save Rodon?
I mean, the argument is obviously they didn't start their best game 1, but look what the Mets did in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they tried to be cute and be like, hey, we'll start DeGrom in game 2 if we lose game 1, blah, blah, blah. And they start Max Scherzer game 1 when Jacob DeGrom is their best pitcher. They lose game 1. Yay, you have Jacob DeGrom for game 2, but then you start Chris Bassett game 3 in a win or go home.
That's my argument too. Of I don't like getting cute when your season's on the line. I don't. You pitch your best
maybe
pitchers.
You can get away with it in the DS 5-game series. 3-game series, absolutely not. You need to start your best guys.
And even if it's a thing of you have Cam Schlittler going up against another team's number 3, you feel a lot more confident than against him going up against a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, if the season ended today, who would the Yankees be playing in the
Red Sox
wild card?
in Fenway.
Red Sox in Fenway. Wow.
Yeah.
So what? They'd probably go Crochet 1, Bayo 2.
Oh God.
Yeah, and then game 3. To your point, you probably have the what's it called? The upper hand, because then in game 3 they're either starting Giolito, Justin May, or Walker Buehler, who they just put in the bullpen.
Yeah.
So 1 and 2 are scary, but game 3, I think the Yankees would have the upper hand. But
yeah, but that's also a thing of Brian Bayo and has absolutely killed the Yankees.
Yeah, you have to get the game 3.
Garrett Crochet, I think he has. I forget the exact number, but I do know for a fact that Garrett Crochet, I think, has 13 at bats against Aaron Judge in his career. Aaron Judge is 1 for 13 with 12 strikeouts. He has the 1 home run every other bat he struck out.
Yeah, not great.
So I don't know how you're gonna do that, but that's obviously
let's
down
get
the
there
line.
first.
You don't know. Yeah, let's get there
first.
first. Speaking of that, the Blue Jays, you're 4 games behind them, half a game behind the Red Sox, as I mentioned. You're 2 games above Seattle, and you look ahead for the Yankees. You got 3 more against the White Sox. Then after that, you got a brutal 4-series schedule. You play 3 in Houston, 3 at home against the Blue Jays, 3 at home against the Tigers, 3 in Fenway.
That's tough. What, 2 weeks? Week and a half?
2
Jeez.
weeks. Other than that, your schedule's a cakewalk. I will say,
Yeah.
outside of that, you have such an easy schedule. But that is a brutal two-week stretch. And I will say the Yankees, they haven't been that good against good teams. They actually have the highest OPS against teams over 500 in baseball. And then I think it's the third highest against teams under 500 in baseball. So they
This is
still
a
have
good
been hitting.
offensive
I think
team.
what'd you say?
I think they're just a good offensive team.
Yeah. I think it's also a thing of just, one, they don't hit as well against better teams. I mean, shocker. I don't know if that shocks you,
Better
but
teams have better pitching?
exactly. But
Maybe?
it really is that meme with the switches where 2 are on,
Yeah.
1 are off. That's
one
just
is
the
off.
story of them.
Yeah.
And
Of New York.
I don't know if it'll change. I really don't. Kind of like the Mets, where I don't know if they could do it. We're just gonna have to see it. I hate saying
They
that
have to
because
prove it.
I hate saying that because we should give an answer. We think they will. We think they won't. Kind of can't.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd be lying if I said I knew.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't have the confidence to sit here and tell you yes.
but I also think that this team is too talented to say no.
Correct.
So-
The Mets and the Yankees are literally having the same season.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, but not for us.
Yeah.
But objectively, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
well, I will say they did. Cody Bellinger did replace Soto and has a higher WAR. So,
Yankee Stadium merchant.
don't care. Yeah, that's all
Defense
I had.
merchant.
Figure it out like that. I hate saying that. You got a couple more against the White Sox. I said this a couple weeks ago. You are allowed to lose one of the last 6 against the White Sox because baseball is baseball. Shit's gonna happen.
Yep.
Sweep this series. Make it easy. Show them why deep dish pizza sucks. I had it the other
New York pizza
weekend.
meta.
Kind of overrated, honestly, when I was in Chicago. But yeah, that's all I had. If you had anything else, if not, take us away.
I think that's about it. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you're on YouTube, remember to subscribe, leave us a comment, never miss an episode. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let us know you're enjoying the show. Helps us out. And follow all of our social media accounts at Triboro Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We post lineups. We post final scores every single day. So you get a bit more of a daily spin on things there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.